These tips are not to make you feel like it's not okay to have negative emotions. I'm not saying that at all. It's perfectly okay, but it's what you do with it and how long you dwell on it. No one else is gonna make you feel better within yourself long term other than you. Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yeva. I am a mindset coach for women. Today we're going to be talking all about how to get out of a rut. I have a bunch of tips for you. To be exact, it's about 10 tips. So without further ado, let's jump into the first tip. It's very common for people to be in a negative mind space. Okay, so it's a very common thing to be in a rush, so to say. The one thing that I really want to mention straight away is when you do feel negative, and this is especially important potentially for women, if they do really feel negative, make sure that you take care of your looks. And this is not to seem like materialistic or anything like that. It really does make a difference because from the outside, you also impact the inside of your being, right? So when you take care of the way that you look, you are going to start feeling better about yourself. That can be, for example, if you do feel negative, not being in your pajamas all day, right? Just those simple things will already make you feel better. And if you then really want to go for it, like get ready and get dressed for the day, it's going to make you feel like you're ready for the day, right? And that is going to impact your inner being as well. The second tip that I have for you, if you are feeling negative, is to make sure that you are going for walks. It's very easy to stay at home and kind of dwell on everything that's going wrong in your life. Staying in bed under the covers or anything like that is not going to help you get out of a negative space. If you do feel like that, you can do it for a little bit, like half an hour, anything like that, and you have to physically get yourself outside of the house and go for a walk in nature because it will make you feel better. It's scientifically proven. It's going to boost your energetic level, okay? The energy that nature gives, the energy that landscapes give you, they boost your vibration, okay? That's why you feel better after going for a walk. And you shouldn't be listening to music and stuff like that whilst walking. Really concentrate on walking. My third tip is cry, but get yourself back up. Like I mentioned, these tips are not to make you feel like it's not okay to have negative emotions. I'm not saying that at all. It's perfectly okay, but it's what you do with it and how long you dwell on it. No one else is gonna make you feel better within yourself long term other than you. You are responsible for that. So it is okay to journal about it, get your emotions out, cry about it, but you have to take some form of action. It is simply necessary, and it can be very hard sometimes, but you simply have to kick yourself in the butt and take action and not cry about it and be negative about it the whole entire time, because it's not going to get better. Even if it's a small walk, even if it's getting out of your pajamas, even if it's journaling about it or talking to someone else about it or trying to see it from a different type of perspective, at least for a little bit, and not dwelling on it so much like you normally would do, that's already a really good thing. And I'm talking about for people who are just feeling negative, who are in a rush. Obviously, if you've lost someone and stuff like that, then you have to mourn. It's a process. But if you're just feeling negative because of negative thoughts or whatever, or you're having a bad day or whatever, that's not a good enough reason to not take action, make yourself feel better. My fourth tip is to journal out your feelings. And I talk about journaling a lot because I personally feel like it's the most effective way in venting. It's a healthy way in getting your emotions out. You're not emotionally dumping anyone else. You're taking responsibility for the way you feel, and you journal about it, right? You write your feelings out. You get those negative thoughts out of your head onto paper, and they make you feel better. It feels better to get that information out. So if you do feel negative and you don't know what to do with those negative thoughts, journal, write a diary, write it out, word vomit, all of that stuff out, really get it out there so it gets out of your system. You can burn the page later on outside. Make sure you don't do it at home, or you can just throw it away, or you can keep it in a notebook and always add to that if you do feel negative, okay? Make sure you don't go down the path or down the rabbit hole of negative emotions. And that is my fifth tip. It's very easy to overthink every situation and every negative circumstance. It's very easy to be fearful. It's very easy to always find a problem and continuously go in circles when it comes down to being negative. It's very easy to do that. It's much harder, and it takes more willpower to be positive and to, regardless if something is going wrong or not going the way that you like, regardless of that, focusing on the positive and taking action, making yourself feel better. That's how you actually become stronger, right? Mentally stronger. You don't go down that rabbit hole, that dark rabbit hole of one negative thing down the other. And that can happen very quickly because fear spirals extremely quickly and leads to anxiety and overthinking very quickly. And it's down to you and only you to break that pattern. And I know it's not easy, but when you break those patterns and when you don't go down that rabbit hole of negative thinking, you develop mentally and you become stronger mentally. So if a situation like that happens again or would happen again, you would already be mentally stronger. So you wouldn't react the same way that you did before. That's why taking action, making yourself feel better, is so important and is so helpful for the future you and the present you, okay? My sixth tip is to talk to people who care. If you talk to just a random friend about your problems, you're potentially not going to get the answer that you were looking for. And that's pretty much the bottom line. If you are going through something difficult, talk to someone that you can trust, whether it's your family, your friends, your siblings, whoever. Talk to someone that is going to be listening to you, because you don't want to be slapped in the face with a rude or negative comment afterwards. So be careful who you talk to about your problems, okay? And if that person later on has problems too, be there for them to hear them out, right? Because you can't just be putting on them and not helping them out yourself, right? So make sure who you go to, that person is loyal and trustworthy and will actually hear you out. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more tips and tricks about mindset, manifestation, and so much more. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification button to be notified whenever I upload a brand new YouTube video. If the negative thinking, or if you feel like you're in a rut for a longer period of time, think about doing therapy or working with a coach. And that is my next tip. Sometimes it can get really hard to get out of a negative state if it's quite deep. And if you've been feeling that way for a while. And I totally get that. I've done therapy before myself, and it is very helpful if you do get a good therapist, right? So it's very helpful, and I do recommend if you feel like I just think I need professional help now because I'm in such a rut, then go ahead and work with a therapist. Or if you feel like I can do this by myself, but I do need help when it comes down to exercises, and I'm not going to look into therapy, but I do want to look into coaching, go ahead and look into coaching. And that is for sure something that can really help you out. For a lot of people, don't be afraid to go to therapy. Don't be afraid to go to coaching. These people are there to help you, not to judge you. So, yeah, take the leap if you feel like you can't help yourself or you're not capable of doing that in the mental state that you are in. Another tip that I have is to detox social media. I personally feel like when I'm negative, I will just be looking through social media more and more and more, and end up scrolling, and time flies by, and then I get upset at myself that I spent time scrolling or looking through social media. And it's not like it's gonna make me feel better, for sure. But a lot of the time when a person is stuck in a rut and they're like in their room and they're bored and they're dwelling, they will look through social media. And I'm here to tell you, that's not going to make you feel better, especially if you're not looking at, like, for example, tips and tricks that is actually productive and actually gives you advice on things like that you can do. For example, like this video, I don't count this as pointless whatsoever, or else I wouldn't be doing it. But when it comes down to looking at like useless TikTok videos or stuff like that, is just useless and just keep scrolling, that's not really gonna help you. If anything, it's gonna distract you from the problem and you're actually gonna feel worse. So the best thing that I recommend is to look at something productive that can actually help you. Go for a walk, journal about it, talk about it, get out of your way and actually take some action. But don't lay in bed mindlessly looking through social media. That's not going to make you feel better. And we're here to make you feel better. Also, very interesting point that I want to make is that remember that it's a phase. The law of rhythm states, and this is just a universal law, just like the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of oneness, and so on. The law of rhythm, and I actually have a video on it, I'm going to link it above. The law of rhythm states that every single thing or situation is a phase. The negative situations or the negative circumstances or the mindset phases, those negative phases that a person gets themselves in, they will pass because time passes, situations change, circumstances change, right? So the negative is a phase. The positive is a phase also, just like everything in life is a phase, okay? But you have to see that negative rut that you are in is a phase, which means it will pass. But it will pass faster and more effectively if you take action on making yourself feel better. And the fact that negative situations are phases, it's not just something that I made up. It's literally a universal law. It's the law of rhythm. And you can read about it. You can watch my video on it that I linked, and just to learn about it. And that reminds a person that everything is going to be okay because that phase is going to pass. Make sure you take action, get busy, and do some form of activity. That is something that's going to make you feel better. It's the most effective thing that you can do. Okay, and I really do mean it. So plan something that you're gonna do. Don't think about it, just do it. Because sometimes when you think about it too much, you're going to start getting doubts. Fear kicks in and tells you not to do something because it's different, it's outside of your comfort zone, and so on. Don't listen to that. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just go for a walk. Just talk to someone that you care or trust about. Just do the tips that I mentioned without overanalyzing them. Because if you're going to overanalyze something, you're always going to find a reason not to do it. So those were my tips on how to get out of a rut, how to get out of a negative state. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Also, if you want to get coached by me on overcoming limiting beliefs and changing the patterns of your subconscious mind in order to manifest a more fulfilling and happy life, or if you want to do mindset coaching, not just manifestation coaching, or if you want to get coached by me basically and work with me, then go ahead and check out my website that you can find down below in the description section, or just reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is yourmindisheaven. We can have a chat there. If you have any questions when it comes down to coaching, you can ask me there or comment down below in this part of the video section down below. Also check out my podcast where I share my thoughts on these types of topics and more. My podcast is called Talks with Yeva. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and check it out. I'm sure you will really enjoy it. Also, check out my Facebook group, which is called the Heaven on Earth Community. I do lives in there frequently on these types of topics and more. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that I could help you and that you're going to be taking some form of action and hopefully you're feeling better. And I wish you an absolutely wonderful week. Everything is going to be okay. Thank you for watching and feel free to reach out to me. Wish you a great week and see you soon. Bye.